Hello, Cancers. Welcome to your teen tarot reading. So, I want to wish you all a very happy holiday season. Enjoy the new year. And I want to apologize as well for the delay in getting this video out to you. I was feeling a little bit sick, so I had to wait until, energy is a little bit better before I'd start on the reading because I feel like for a majority of the signs, it's a major turning point in a lot of people's lives. And so we have like repeating cards that came throughout, the various readings for different signs. So I was trying to make sure that my energy level is on par before I could start the reading. Okay, so I apologize for the delay. I apologize for getting this out late to you. I still hope the information is still helpful for you moving forward. I'm going to relay the initial messages that came through when I was shuffling, and then we're going to go into this spread. It's basically the same spread, same amount of cards that I've used in the past. I just wanted to save time off the recording and, to prevent the distractions from shuffling while I get the messages out to you. So the first thing I feel is for those of you who have recently either had new children added into the household, who might have given birth, and who might have like just a new bundle of joy in the environment. I feel that you're getting used to the swing of things. A lot of the energy surrounding your household environment has settled. And I feel that you're finding ways to manage responsibilities, practical, real world responsibilities better, or at least you're getting into the rhythm of things where I feel like you're just finding better, efficient ways to manage responsibility so that other areas of your life is not affected by it. Okay, so that looks to be very good for a lot of you. I still see a lot of movement and travel, but it's diminished compared to the past 4 months. So I feel like the energy surrounding your overall work environment is looking a lot better as well. I do see some concerns when it comes to health. Either like physical health or emotional health. I do feel like more on the emotional health front. Take care to like, get proper sleep, get a new mattress. I feel for some of you, there is still some experiencing like, I feel like back pain and especially pain in the lower extremities, legs, joints, pain, like hip pain, back pain. So that's coming in. And I feel like, if you can invest in a new mattress or you can find a better way to just get more comfortable, get more situated, like get yourself situated well before you go to sleep. I feel that's going to be beneficial for you. I do feel, going to a chiropractor and things like that might be beneficial for you as well. I see acupuncturist and chiropractic like sessions. I feel those things would be really good for you. A lot more physical exercise as well, like a lot more physical activities, because I do see an energy of stagnation, metabolism slowing down for many of you. So if you are lifting weights, for example, make sure you don't strain yourself, because I do feel like some sore muscles and things like that. General like physical malice, like that might prevent you from getting adequate rest or adequate sleep or even restful sleep. Okay, so keep your health in order. And when it comes to your mental health issues, I feel overall reduction in alcohol consumption, being careful about, not wearing yourself thin when it comes to social engagement, and setting some type of a schedule when it comes to your nighttime activities, going to sleep at a certain time, and just, control physical exertion. Don't push so hard that you are straining your body. Okay, so that's coming in. I feel for some of you, especially like if you are still in school, I do sense that you really need to, get yourself focused. I do see a scattered energy for those of you who are in school, managing school and responsibilities and work. And then for others, managing like, I'm feeling like for especially younger people who are viewing this, like people in their 20s who are still in school, you have to manage social engagement and the time that you spend studying for courses, studying for exams. Okay, so just be careful about that. Don't overdo things. So I feel like there's a lot of regrets coming through when it comes to education for many of you in general. So some of you might not have the opportunity to finish school, and I feel that you are starting to realize how it's really affecting your income generating potential, or even affecting your financial and job prospects right now. So if you have not had the opportunity to finish school for whatever reason, financial or even, personal, I sense a little bit of regrets and, some type of disappointment coming through not having the opportunity to finish school and not getting the credential that you feel you deserve. So that's coming in. What I'm also feeling is they are saying this is a month for you to withdraw. Okay. And I feel a lot of it has to do with the fact that, the sun is going into, well, the sun is already in Sagittarius, in the constellation of Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. So I do feel that there's a lot of energy brewing around you. People want to go out. People want to overdo things because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter and it deals with expansion. So along with expansion, it comes an energy of overindulgence, overdoing, and pushing past our limits in a very unhealthy manner. And because the sun is in a fire sign, which is in opposition to yours, a water sign, I feel like you need to be very, very self contained this month in order to get your responsibilities done, in order not to stress yourself out and not to go through, physical overexertion. So just be careful about that. I feel like physical, emotional, and mental overexertion. So that's a major thing coming through for this month, okay? Draw back your energy, take care of things. There will be a time and even a better time for you to get involved in group activities if that's something that you really want to do, like socially network, professionally network. That will come later. Just contain your energy, take care of things on a more logical, practical level. The last message that is coming in is I just feel for a lot of you there are concerns when it comes to family. Okay, so this is like the family that you grew up in and the family that you either have created for yourself. There's a lot of pressure I feel to I feel like, especially for those of you who are married with children, there's a lot of pressure, and I'm not really sure like where it's coming from. Either not seeing eye to eye with your partner, and then you have to put on this happy face around the children, right? So I feel like a lot of you are kind of like dealing with that, and you're not really sure. You don't want it to affect the kids, but at the same time, I feel like there's this general dissatisfaction, and you're trying to, put on a brave face in front of the kids. And then for others of you, without your own family, I feel like there's a lot of expectations when it comes to mom and dad. You might be either estranged from one parent. So it might be the mother that you don't have a great relationship with. It might be the father that you don't have a great relationship with. I do see more of a father vibe, like expectations coming through from the father that you can't realistically live up to. I feel that there might be like an emotional rift between you and a father figure. So you might be home for the holidays, seeing your parents, and you might not get along with one parent. And you're trying to put on a brave face, like a happy, giddy face in order to confront situations. So I do feel an energy of like, making the best out of a situation and, trying to find ways to keep yourself like, to keep yourself in a happy state in an environment that is not entirely ideal. So I feel that can be, a good or a bad thing, but I do feel emotional management is a major theme for this month for many of you. Let me see if there's anything else. They're saying there is discussions about, travel and things like that. I don't feel the traveling is going to happen this month. I don't see a big shift here about, traveling. But I feel that a major, major travel, possibly overseas, possibly across state lines, across the continent even, or to neighboring countries if you are in an environment where you're surrounded by other countries. So I feel like major travel opportunities are being planned or being thought about right now. And the travel could come very early on next year, like in the springtime. I'm getting of next year. So I'm going to go into your reading now. Let's talk about the first two cards. So first of all, we do have the Emperor. as well as the Three of Wands. Now, both of these cards to me indicate a situation like a work environment where I feel that you are put in an environment where a lot of people are either depending on you, and a lot of people are kind of like looking up to you for your expertise, for your, voice of authority. I feel that a lot of you are kind of like in an environment, and I feel like it's institutional. You might be starting at the bottom and you're waiting for opportunities to advance, and you're waiting for opportunities either to get a promotion, to rise above, to do some type of lateral transfer, to even get a pay increase or a pay raise. And I feel like you're in an environment where there's a lot of people, looking at your performance, not in a bad way, but it seems like you're dealing with a lot of authority figures. You're dealing with a lot of people that you have to please, or that might have, creative differences from you. And you're trying to, so for example, you might have two supervisors, two trainers. One person wants you to do things this way, the other person wants it done a different way. So I feel like you're kind of like caught in the middle, and you're trying to like see how you can maneuver, or where you can maneuver the situation as to not to offend anybody. Okay. And they're saying for this month, like that whole emotional management idea, I feel like you really need to do what you feel is the right thing for yourself or for the situation. So don't become, don't be too eager to please one or the other, because I feel like that's going to isolate one and the other person. So I feel like it's really important for you to do what you think is the best course of action given the entire circumstance or the entire situation. So trusting your intuition specifically coming through, as well as really standing up and take ownership for your creative projects. Okay. So I feel like, there might be an energy of a micromanager in your midst, somebody who's constantly hovering over you and things like that. But I feel like you're going to navigate the environment just fine. And I feel like you know what you're doing. You have the skills and expertise. And a lot of you are actually very, very cautious. So you don't really act until you know for sure a certain course of action is going to provide the best outcome. So, trust yourself a little bit more, and, put your ideas on the line as well and defend it. Okay. With the Emperor here, it indicates as well a father figure. So that energy came through strongly. I feel like there is something that they're saying, when it comes to like career status and things like that. A lot of you are in a situation where you might be making a lot of money. So your financial situation looks very good for this month. You might be making a lot of money. You might be in a position of power and authority. And I feel like, a lot of you have fought really hard, have worked really hard to get where you are right now. And I feel like, yes, you have support from family members and things like that. But I feel like somebody is trying to take credit for, the work that you're doing. It could be as simple as, going home for the holidays, and then, you're like the manager now, and then your father might be bragging about you because, he's proud of you to his colleagues, to his other family members, or to his side of the family, and taking credit for it. Like I feel like he's proud of you, so he's doing this. But I feel that for you, it might rub you the wrong way, because you're like, no, I got here on my own. And I feel like you did a lot of work on your own to get there. But I feel that, this person feels almost as if you are an extension of them. So they're not doing this to be like pretentious or to like, take credit for your work. They're doing it mainly because they're proud of you. And the way in which they express their pride, or the way that they express their appreciation for you, might be done in a way where it's not like really humble, or it's not very tactful. So I feel like that might rub you the wrong way, especially those of you who have like a strained relationship with a father figure. Okay. The next two cards coming through is the Eight of Cups as well as the Six of Wands. Let me talk about the Six of Wands first. This is a card about garnering a lot of prestige, a lot of power, a lot of recognition on the professional and even the social environment. And I do sense for a lot of you, they're saying here, you're trying to do the right thing, okay? And you're trying to do what you feel is like morally right. And I feel that, everyone, it seems to me like there is a major loss that came as a result of trying to do the right thing. And I feel like this can play out in a relationship as well. So an example that comes to mind, I feel, is like, for example, like being like dating two people, and you have to let one person go mainly because you don't want to hold them back. You don't want to lie to them anymore. So in the process of doing the right thing, you lost that relationship, right? And I feel like on the professional front as well, you might have to like you might be in a supervisory managerial position, and you might have to take those you have to like make those difficult decisions, kind of like, this person on my team is not carrying their weight, so I'm going to have to let them go, and I'm going to have to like hire somebody else to replace them that can do the job better. So I definitely feel like with you there might be the whole concept of trying to do the right thing, and not being too happy about having to do it. I feel that you're still doing it. You're still, trying to walk the moral path, but it comes at a loss, like some type of emotional loss that is kind of irreversible. And then for others of you, I feel like if you're in a position of authority on a work environment, especially, you might have to make the tough call of letting somebody go and having to deal with, the resentment coming through from them. But in the process, I feel like it's for the greater good, mainly because they are kind of like a weak link, and you and your team can benefit a lot better if you were to replace them with somebody else. So I do sense that coming through where, tough choices are made. It indicates to me like a whole process of maturation where, with greater responsibilities, with greater power, with greater obligate, like with greater power, greater position, greater prestige, it also comes with, greater responsibilities. If you're in the public limelight for whatever reason, if you are somebody who is like a politician, working in an environment that deals with like public policy, governance, or even like in the public sector, if you are somebody in the public eye, and I feel that, you have to walk on the straight and narrow path, and it's really difficult for you like to maintain this kind of like facade all the time. So I feel like, because you have gained this position of importance and prominence, it is really important that you conduct yourself well, mainly because you're under a lot of scrutiny. A lot of people are looking at you as a role model as well. So you can't really, I feel like a lot of you are not comfortable in this position. You feel that it's necessary in order to implement some type of major changes in society. So you get into this type of position where you can manage people, you can train people better, you can teach people how to do the right thing. But I do feel like when it comes to your public image and your emotional life, or even your personal life, it's really hard to manage the two, because you don't want to be seen as somebody who has like double standards for yourself and for other people. So because you're under a lot of scrutiny and you're in the spotlight, you have to conduct yourself so well. So you have to like hide certain things about yourself, not in a malicious, deceitful way, but mainly because you feel like this is the professional image I must portray. As for personal, emotional life, I need to put that on the back burner, or I need to like downplay that side of myself. So I feel that coming through this disparity between, public image and personal life. I feel that it's good, and I feel that, a lot of you are under in positions of power, of authority, and so you have to like really watch what you say, really watch what you do, really watch who you hang out with, associate with, to avoid scandal, to avoid like gossip. And so you're very careful about, concealing information about your private life, mainly because you feel this area is sacred to you. So it could also be like, disassociating yourself from people that you used to hang out with, mainly because to avoid scandal, or to avoid, being traced back to them in some way, and not frequenting the areas that you're used to or that you really liked. because there is like certain stigma associated with it. So not doing something that you used to like or you still like because you have to preserve a public image, okay? So I see a lot of cards here about, you know, high power, career, corporate types of professional that have to downplay a certain side of themselves in order to fit into a mold in a professional setting. And I feel like, yes, you're going through the motions, but you feel like it's not very authentic to your true representation. Like I don't feel it's truly you, but you're playing a role, and I feel that you understand the importance of needing to do this, okay? What I'm also feeling as well is with the third cluster here, we have the Hermit and the High Priestess. And I want to talk about these three cards in particular. And what I do sense here, these are very, very spiritual cards. Well, even the Temperance card. These are very, very spiritual cards. And the High Priestess indicates heightened intuition. The Hermit indicates your spirit guides trying to connect with you. It's basically, you know, crowning this reading. So it's something that you are thinking about, something that is happening around you. And I feel like you're being steered a specific way. And I feel that you're being steered towards like a moral, righteous path. And I feel a lot of you are just kind of like in the past, you might have done some things that are questionable in order to get to a position of prominence, in order to achieve success and financial stability. So, whatever you were doing, there's an element here about having to do something in order to achieve greatness. And whatever you did, you might not have really liked it. Okay, so that means that can even be as simple as being in a work environment that you don't really care for in order to, you know, stay there, gain seniority, get a promotion, have that financial stability. Others of you might just be like, you know, you might become doctors and lawyer because it was expected of you from your father or from your family, but you don't, your heart's not in it. So it could be like that. And on the other extreme, it could be, you know, shady dealings, under the table dealings in order to get something that will garner you a lot of wealth. So it can play out in a myriad of ways, and it can play it depending on the magnitude of what was done in order to get yourself here. I do feel like a lot of you are questioning it. A lot of you are just like, is this something that is morally right? Is this something that is ethical? So I do see this whole element about, you know, what the public wants versus what I want. And these things, they're at cross purposes with each other almost. So you're kind of like grappling with this inner dilemma. Like I feel like it's an inner conflict. It almost feels like an ethical dilemma about like, should I continue on this route? Am I on the right path? And if this is something that is good for me further down the line. I'm seeing that some of you might be in a position where you are meeting a lot of clients, and I feel like the clients that you're meeting, they have very, very extravagant tastes. They might engage in a lot of, you know, like frivolous activities, like going out, dropping a lot of money in order for like entertainment. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. That can mean many things, but I feel like you're kind of burned out with having to maintain this professional image. You're kind of burned out of having to maintain a specific like personage, I guess, in front of your professional contacts, and you feel like it's not really representing you. It's not the lifestyle that you really want for the rest of your life, and it's not something that you want to pursue because you feel like it's inauthentic. Okay. And with the Hermit energy, this is kind of like your spirit guides telling you, like, looking into the success situation. So it fell out like this, with kind of like, this indicates to me looking into in depth into a situation. And we have the success card here. So it's sort of like, yes, you gain the success, you gain the power and the prestige, but at what cost? Are you still happy with your station? Are you still happy with this job? Are you still happy with these I almost want to say like superficial relationships that you are establishing that might not serve, that might not represent you, that, you know, outside of this work environment, you feel like this is not you. So there's a serious reassessment when it comes to a career track, I feel, for some of you. And especially for those who are, you know, like kind of like at the peak of your career. I feel like you're thinking about the next step. There's a sense of boredom, discontentment coming through. Even if you're at the peak of your career, I feel that you're waiting for new opportunities. However, you don't want to move away from where you currently are, like professionally, because there's a lot of money coming through. There's high status, high power, high money. So you might be, wanting to make a career move. And I feel that you're being steered to make a career move, but you're comfortable where you are because, of the leadership capacity, because of the status, because of the position. Okay. So major career moves are highly supported, actually. I feel like you're being steered in that manner. And especially, I feel like for some of you, within the past, like, let's just say like in teen, I feel like a lot of you made a lot of money and you might have lost it all. Okay, so I feel like they're saying something about money built on karma. So I feel what that means is kind of like, in universal law is just you get back what you put in, no matter what it seems like at the end of the day, at the end of our lives. Whatever we put in when it comes to emotional investment, when it comes to like the time, the energy, the and especially the energy on an energetic level, whatever we put into an endeavor throughout our lives, we're going to get it back. Okay, so it's a mutual energy exchange between ourselves and other people, between ourselves and a work environment, between ourselves and the universe. So I feel like money that is gained very, very quickly can disappear very, very quickly. And I feel that a lot of you might have like been on top of the world doing something quite I don't know if it's like immoral or unethical, and you might have had been in a situation where you lost it all. And I feel like if that were, if that was something that happened to you, they're saying that, there is a way to build it back up, but you need to make sure that the way in which you approached, rebuilding your foundation, you need to make sure that it's a different way. You need to make sure that it is something that is tried and true and built on hard work rather than, overnight success. Okay. So I sense that coming through. A lot of you are going through like a major, major spiritual month for this year where you are reassessing a lot of what you've been doing and whether or not it's going to sustain you till the end of time, because I feel an overall sense of boredom, dissatisfaction. It feels to me almost like going through the motions, having a lot of things on your plate, going through the motions, but the emotional satisfaction is no longer there. So it feels like you're living your life based on other people's expectations rather living it authentically based on what you want out of life. So, um, in a way, it's sort of like emulating other people's success rather than charting your own territory and figuring out what success and happiness and things like that really mean for you. So the last cluster here deals with the Temperance card and the Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Swords is a card about, sadness, regrets as well. It's about sleepless night, being plagued by nightmares, not getting enough sleep, not getting adequate rest, or even restful sleep. This is a card about tossing and turning in the night. And I feel like a lot of you are getting spiritual insights. I feel like this is your spirit guide trying to guide you in the right direction. And I feel like, especially for those of you who are starting from the bottom and you're trying to rise into a position of prominence, you're trying to secure enough money, enough funding in order to get some type of venture off the ground. I do see a lot of work, like, you're being overloaded with a lot of work. There is a high propensity for burning out. So if you're not careful, okay, so just keep that in mind and take care of yourself. Get recreational, activities in to diffuse the tension when it comes to like being too inundated with work that you don't really care for. And on top of that, having a lot of responsibilities on your plate. I feel like a lot of you, they're saying something about new additions to the family. So if you have like younger children, especially, who's like teething, or it's like a child that cries a lot at night, you're not used to it, you're trying to adjust your schedule. So I feel like a lot of sleepless nights, or like waking up in the middle of the night in order to take care of the little kids. Okay, so that is something that you need to manage, and I feel like you're going to be able to successfully manage it. But I feel like a lot of work life balances, a lot of personal professional life balances, needs to be sorted out for this month, and I feel like it's catching up to you. Like all those nights of like burning the midnight oil, those things are catching up, and it's affecting your health, first of all physically, and then later on emotionally. So I do see something here, kind of like things bundled up together. First, you're emotionally, dissatisfied with your job, and then you might like be a little bit more irritable. You might pick fights on the work environment, and just to show your, it's like your dissatisfaction coming out in a very covert way. And then secondly, things bundled up, as in your physical health is affected, and then your emotional state is not that great. Okay, be careful about irritability, taking things out on coworkers that don't warrant it. Like, I feel, for cancers, a lot of you, you're ruled by the moon, and I feel like your emotional state is greatly dictated by your physical health as well as your emotional health. So if those things are kind of like in disarray, I feel that you're going to be quite irritable. And likewise, if you're experiencing any type of body aches, body pain, or any type of like physical illness, you're going to be quite irritable to the people that you are around. If you are in a relationship and where you feel like you did a lot of the work and you're not getting, the attention or even the equal amount of investment from either your job or even your relationship partner, you're going to find like very covert, subversive way to undermine that relationship. Be careful of this shadow side of yourself, because I do see it playing out for this month, where you're dissatisfied with something, but rather than voicing your opinion, rather than talking to the person about it, I feel like you put on a brave face, on a happy face, or a giddy face, and getting through it. And you might do subtle things to undermine that relationship, that person, or that work environment. I hope that makes sense. So I feel that coming through. Just be very careful with this, undercurrent subversive energy. Okay, find a proper outlet for it, or at least talk about it. Um, what's really interesting as well is I feel like everything happening this year, as I'm sorry, not this year, this month, it's being felt on a very emotional level. I have a lot of deep emotional things coming through, but nothing is really talked about. We don't have well, except the Nine of Swords. We don't have like air signs, like the sword suit that indicate some type of intellectual outlet, or even some type of like some ability or opportunity coming through to allow you to voice things. I feel like a lot of people as well are coming to you with a lot of their problems, and you're like having to manage your own problems as well as whatever it is that other people need you to help them with. Um, I feel for some of you, you are in some type of position where you're doing some quality control. And I feel that you're being paid by the company that you're doing quality control for. So it's in your best interest to try to tweak situations or try to hide certain aspects of things that don't really pass inspection. So I feel like you're doing that in a very, I feel like under the table, or in a very covert manner, out of like prying eyes. Okay. So that's coming through. There's a lot of secrecy. There's a lot of like things that are under the curtain, and then people putting on a happy face. So be careful of how this energy is going to affect you long term emotionally, because I feel like you're not too happy about having to do that. Now, in terms of your spiritual advice, Cancers, we do have here the Eight of Pentacles, which is a great, great, great career card. Okay, this is kind of like working very diligently for whatever you for financial stability. So I feel like in your work environment, you are working very, very diligently. You're minding your own business, and I feel like other people are the ones coming to you with their own problems, and you have to fix them. So you're playing a little bit of a fixer for other people this month. And as a result of having to fix everybody's buddies else's things, you might not have the emotional reservoir left over, the emotional stamina, I feel, to straighten out other things in your own life. Okay, just be careful about that. The Eight of Pentacles is also a card in the traditional Rider-Waite deck where we are making duplicates of something, and then we're, something with your name on it, and then you like send it out to the universe. So resumes come to mind, and I feel like a lot of you are kind of like looking around. You're looking around for other career opportunities. You're looking around for that big job, like with the corner office. And I feel that you're waiting for the perfect opportunity to get there or to network. So I do sense an energy of a lot of socializing, networking on the professional front in order to like expand your contacts, in order to get your foot in the door when it comes to a very high power, high status type of a position. Okay. Like rubbing shoulders with people in a position of power in order to land a perfect job. So I feel like you're going about this in a very, very smart way. And I feel like you're doing it in a very sly manner, in a very well thought out, strategic manner. But everything is just very under the radar, under the curtain to me. The second card that comes up here is the Two of Wands. And the Two of Wands indicates a relationship. This is either a relationship or a partnership. I feel for a lot of you, this might be a relationship type of situation where one person is like doing a lot of the work in the relationship and the other person is not holding up their end of the bargain. What I also feel is for some of you who are in a relationship right now, there might be a lot of like professional engagements that you have to go to, and you want your partner to attend with you, but they can't for whatever reason. And vice versa, they have a lot of social function or professional functions that they want you to attend, but you can't because you have your own. So I do feel like a lot of compromise needs to come through from your relationship with your partner. And you might be assessing a major romantic like partnership in your life right now to see like how compatible you are, to see where it's going, and to see whether or not it's going to be sustainable further down the line. What is coming through last here is the Moon card. And the Moon card, basically, I feel like for a lot of you, there is a lot of psychic hits based on this spread. You are getting a lot of good insights as to where you need to go to strengthen your career or to find a career that is a lot more emotionally fulfilling. I feel like a lot of you who are currently employed right now, you're in a job that is great, but I feel like it's not emotionally fulfilling for you. I feel like it pays well. I feel like there's a lot of interesting people that you're coming across. There's a lot of like an expansive energy regarding your professional contact, but I feel like you're not emotionally happy. And then a lot of you are in a relationship as well, and you're thinking like there's more. I want more out of this relationship, or I want a relationship that looks different. So I almost feel like, looking at other people's relationship, comparing your relationship with others, and then looking at other people's work environment or even work positions and envying the life that you could have had, or wanting a different thing for yourself. It is Mercury in retrograde throughout, and Mercury in retrograde brings up a lot of uncomfortable feelings and uncomfortable kind of like, I feel like uncomfortable revelations. And a lot of the times, these are things that we should have, examined a few months prior, especially like 3-4 months prior, during a previous Mercury in retrograde time frame. And if these things were not, taken care of then and swept under the rug, they will come up again in the next Mercury retrograde cycle. So I feel like whatever was swept under the rug, whatever was not dealt with in an upfront manner, is coming through again for you guys. So I feel like let me see, the month of, I believe the last one was the month of her. So whatever was not adequately dealt with when it comes to work, how you make money, especially, and whether or not you're satisfied with that. And when it comes to relationships, who are you with right now? And are you happy with that relationship? These two things are coming up, and you can no longer ignore them for this month. Okay. So it is a little bit of a soul searching journey. I feel that a lot of you there's this overall sense of like, yes, things are stable, but I'm not really content. And if that feels familiar to you, then you really want to ask yourself the question of, if I'm not content with this, what do I really want? And what's the best option for me? So I feel like these things need to be addressed for this month. And, like, don't make a decision yet. Just try to feel it out and see what you need, because I feel like you haven't really sat down and, write a list about what you need, so you don't really know what it is out there. You just know that you're just kind of like dissatisfied right now, but you don't know what you really want, and you don't know like what's going to get you to the space that you really want. So I feel like actually sitting down, having some quiet time to yourself, so pulling back your energy, having some quiet time to yourself to answer these questions, it's going to give you a lot more clarity. And then, come where you come, especially, you can then figure out how you're going to be able to realistically achieve the things that you want. So a lot of things are coming up for reexamination. A lot of new spiritual insights are coming through for you for this month, and I do feel a lot of information coming through from other people. I do sense like news coming through from a mother regarding a father's behavior for some of you. And I feel like a lot of you don't live with your parents anymore, and you're kind of worried because you're no longer in that environment. So I see like some news coming through from the mother regarding the father's behavior, especially if you have been estranged from your father. So that's coming in. Let me just see what else. I feel like a lot of you, they're saying something about, wanting to return back to school. If you want to do that, I feel like it's a really good time for you to do that. Okay. School is a great investment. And whenever your soul wants to go back to school, whenever you feel like there are other things that I want to learn, it's always a good thing to do. And especially, like being in school will help us stabilize other areas of our lives. It doesn't feel like that at the time. The whole image of the poor college student comes to mind. But I feel like a lot of you are thinking about returning to school, or you like the school environment mainly because the people that you seem to run across in a school environment, in a more academic environment, they seem to be a little bit more ethical, a little bit more in alignment with you. So I feel like a lot of you are comfortable in that environment. It feels safe. It feels very cloister, where you don't have to worry about real world responsibilities. So a lot of you are wanting that part of your life again, wanting to experience that again. I do sense going back to school would be very good for some of you, especially if you're having trouble figuring out your career and professional direction, and especially if you don't know what you need right now to make yourself happy. I feel like a little bit more education would be good for you overall in the long run when it comes to your career track. Okay, so I'm going to go into your love reading right now. Um, I don't feel like, the energy was negative, but I do feel a lot of you are experiencing this. Okay. I feel like more than half, and you're trying to figure out the next step. And I feel like you're having trouble figuring out what the next step is, what you even want. So ride through the month, but keep that in the back of your mind. Just don't make any drastic decisions for now, but do keep that idea in the back of your mind and see what shows up for you, especially after the sun transitions into the sign of Capricorn. So that's going to be around the 21st or so. I feel the energy will clear up and you will have a lot more clarity. Just don't act on it, because the majority of Earth is either the Mercury retrograde or the Mercury retrograde shadow period. Okay, so I feel like would it be a better time for you to implement your any new plans. Okay, so what is in store for Cancers for the month of 16 when it comes to love, romance, and relationships? So I'm getting the message of temptation from overseas. That's the message. Temptation from overseas. I feel like a lot of you are with somebody right now, and there's like temptations outside. And I see a lot of foreigners that you're dealing with. So people, when they say foreigners, it's not always somebody from another country. It's usually somebody that is of a different cultural background, cultural upbringing, even, a different ethnicity, different in like they might speak a different language. They might even reside in the same country, just speaking a different language. So in this day and age, it's a multitude of people. As long as they're different from you, somewhat culturally, ethnically, that's considered a foreigner. Okay. So I do see they're saying like temptation from overseas. They're also saying like a lot of interactions with foreigners that are very, very attractive. So I feel temptations overall. So love, romance, relationships for Cancer. So we already have a new spark of passion coming through that is really good for you. This is up here. So I feel like a lot of you have already, are starting the month already in a relationship. Or at least you have somebody quite significant that you are involved with. So for some reason too, when I did the readings for all the other signs, there's a very, very major transitional type of energy where people are no longer, I feel like it might be because, it's towards the end of the year and people who have been kind of like dragging their feet about something they're supposed to do are finally getting the courage to do them. So there are a lot of, like across the board for all the readings, for all the signs so far, there have been a lot of changes, a lot of like major reversals for good or bad. And I feel like it's because it's the last month of the year and people are trying to, change their courses so that they can start the new year in a better frame of mind. So I feel like a lot of drastic decisions are being made, and it's not always a good thing to do, especially when it's Mercury in retrograde. But either way, I'm going to go into your reading in a little bit. We do have the Tower here coming through in the future position. So I'm going to pull out 2 more cards to see what it pertains to. Okay, so we have 2 cards. All right, so let me talk about the past first. And if the past resonates with you, then, the rest of the reading, you can probably identify with it. So in the past position, we do have an air sign. So this is Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, sun, moon, or rising. If they're not this suit, they are somebody who is very, very, I feel like it was difficult for you to understand where this person, like how this person feels about you. And it's hard for you to really understand like where they're coming from. So I feel like you're dealing with somebody who's very closed off emotionally. They're not the most verbally like expressive type of person. They're not physically affectionate as well. So you're kind of like dealing with somebody who it's hard for you to read, who you have to like tread very carefully around, because I feel there is an element of conservatism with them. I feel like this is somebody that has been through a lot in life. They've had a lot of instability in their home environment growing up. And as a result of it, they seem like they're very self-protected, like self-protective, and they don't really put themselves out there. They're a little bit closed off, mainly because they have trust issues. And they are also like, just, I feel like there might have been a lot of love involved with this person. But the way that they are, the way that you are, and the way that you both communicate together as a couple, even the way that you express love and affection, I feel like you like this person, but it seems to me like they've been through a lot. So they're saying like they're a little bit broken, they're a little bit damaged. And it made it hard for you to have an emotional connection with this person. Okay. I feel like this is a really outstanding, good person. And I feel like they really did care about you. But there were issues that, trust issues or even childhood trauma and things like that, that they haven't really overcome yet. And when they got into a relationship with you or when you met them, they weren't ready. And I do sense like, if you've been with this person for a really long time, it also indicates to me like an amicable, a mutual parting of the ways where you both can be cordial with one another and there isn't like a great deal of resentment and in that separation. So I feel like in the past, a lot of you have been with this person either in a short-term romance or in a very, very long-term romance. I do feel for some of you that might have been with this person, it might have been like, 6 years or less, okay, 6 months or less. So I feel like it's somebody quite recent, somebody that is still heavily kind of like, I feel like they're a good person. But for some reason, the timing between you both were just never in sync, in alignment. So I feel like you were dealing with this person and you have since moved away from it. What I'm sensing is with you and this person, You know, you're a water sign, and I feel like Cancer people in general need a lot of reassurance, need a lot of emotional support. You need a lot of validation, affirmation, and you need a lot of compliments from your partner, not because you're fishing for compliments, but because it makes you feel wanted and needed, and it makes you feel secure. And I feel like this person is not somebody that gives out compliments easily. I do sense like emotional repression with this person. And as a result of it, like it's hard to be in a relationship with them if you're somebody that needs a lot of attention, that needs a lot of coaxing, coddling. So I feel like they're very, very stoic, and they have been through, a lot of pain and struggle and strife in their own life. So they're not like ready to take on, to play that maternal role to another person. So that's what I'm feeling here. And as a result of it, there were difficulties communicating. There were difficulties seeing eye to eye. There were difficulties when it comes to like gauging how much they really care about you. And I feel like you or them have chosen to move on from this relationship. And I feel a relationship that was quite significant, 6 years or less and 6 months or less with this person. Even though it's 6 months or less, they're still showing up here. Which brings us to the present situation. In the present situation, we have here the Ace of Wands. And the Ace of Wands indicates passion, indicates excitement. It indicates like, chemistry with another person. The Ace of Wands, because it's a fire suit, it indicates our passion or drive being ignited, okay? But alone, it doesn't indicate love, or it doesn't indicate stability. It's just a very, very quick burst of passion. Coupled with other things, it can last, but still, it needs a lot of nurturing, okay? So all aces are like the beginning of a fruitful union. It can work out depending on how much energy, how much resources, how much emotional investment you want to put in it. So I feel like you're still, I feel like a lot of you have moved on from this person. You have found somebody else. A lot of you might have shifted from an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, to a fire sign. Um, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And I feel that because you met this new person, you were able to leave that significant relationship partner behind, and you're able to like accept the fact that, yes, it was great at one point, but I've moved on. And I feel as well, a lot of you are feeling new excitement, new passion for a new person. And you know that like there aren't, right off the bat, there aren't a lot of compatibility, but it's exciting and it's stimulating. And I feel that you're willing to put in the work to invest in this because you want that excitement. You want to feel, the jitters of a new love relationship again. Um, some of you can have, multiple options, meaning like multiple suitors. And so I feel that you are at least dating again. But a lot of you, I feel, are coming through in this month with a relationship. So the foundation indicates to me what's known to be true in this present moment as we, progress into her. We do have here the 10 of Pentacles, which indicates a very, very stable, solid foundation. Two people that have worked together to build a generational wealth, to build up and accumulate a lot of wealth and stability in the relationship. So a lot of you might have already might enter this month already in a coupled relationship that has a lot of stability and growth. If you are already in a relationship that is very, very stable and very solid, I feel like you might be coupled up with an earth sign, okay? A Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn, sun, moon, or rising. And I feel like both of you on the professional front, you're a very good match. Like on paper, one person, for example, one person's a lawyer, the other person's a doctor. That is like it's a good social. And then a lot of you might be like from the upper middle class upbringing, and then the other person's upper middle class upbringing. So there seems to be something of a good in this union. So I feel like on the public front, like on paper, the union looks very stable, very, very good. But I do see some type of competition between you and your partner about, who's making more money. I do see some element of like a little bit of envy, a little bit of competition, and a little bit of like nitpicking at one another. This is something that you really want to sort out in your relationship, because I feel like it's chipping away at the foundation of the relationship. On the one hand, you have somebody who's very, very stable, like the earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. It is somebody who's very reliable, who will be there for you, like in the middle of the night if you need anything. But I do feel like there's an element here of like the relationship looking very, very good on paper. It might be like overly stable to the point where you might be, wanting new things. Okay. So I do see temptation. I do see all of that, especially if you are in a relationship with an earth sign. What's coming through as the crowning energy? And the crowning energy is the person, the situation, or the circumstance that you are thinking about. We have here the devil, and the devil indicates to me, uh, first of all, temptation outside of the relationship. And I do feel as well, a lot of you, you're feeling like, you're feeling frisky. You're feeling like you want to take risks. And I feel like you have a lot of people that are admiring your work. So you might be in a very high power status or like position. And I feel that a lot of people are admiring you. You have a lot of suitors coming through, a lot of people just like randomly messaging you, looking at you through social media. And I feel they're reaching out to you. So I see a lot of an energy about, I see like a Cancerian male who has like a bunch of women following him. Okay. So for example, I feel like somebody with a groupie, somebody with like a lot of admirers. And I feel like it's yes, it's flattering, and it can be harmless if you know how to manage that energy. But I feel like it is posing as a major temptation for many of you. So, especially if you're dealing with an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, this energy can come through from their end, where I feel like there might be some control issues. There might be a little bit of jealousy, resentment coming through from the earth sign. And I feel like there's a sense of competition as well. So there's some type of temptation coming through in this environment, especially if, for those of you who are coupled up. And for others of you, you are dealing right now with a fire sign. So you might have transitioned from an air sign to a fire sign, and you're still with a fire sign right now, and there's temptation from outside of the relationship. So I feel like you're in a very, very spirited mood and you want to take risks. And I feel like there's a lot of people soliciting you from outside the relationship, or if you're single, even, there's a lot of temptation coming through. And the advice here is, if you are thinking about a fire sign, Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo specifically, I feel almost like they're not really making a move towards you. They're seeing all the people in your midst, and they're seeing like all the competition that they have to jump through, they have to get through. So they're not really excited about having to make the first move. So I feel like you're dealing with a very hesitant fire sign. So, which brings us to the future position. In the future position, we do have here the Eight of Cups as well as the Tower. So be very careful about, like when I mentioned, if you are competing with somebody, and if, somebody's like, if there's temptation outside of the relationship, make sure you have a talk with your partner, because I feel like the foundation of the relationship is being slowly corroded because of like control issues, ego issues, jealousy, accusations about, third party involvements and things like that. So be careful about that. Additionally, a lot of you might be with a fire sign who is very, very hesitant. I feel like you're forced to do all the work, and you have other people in your midst that you're attracted to. So you might just be walking away altogether. Okay. So the Eight of Cups here is walking away from a situation that we have invested a lot of our time, a lot of our energy, a lot of our resources in. And you're not walking away lightly. This was something that, that you have thought long and hard about, and you might realize that it's not worth it anymore. That you might have a false image of the other person when you first met, and as you got to know them, you realize that you are very incompatible, and that there aren't enough to keep you both together as a unit. It's linked up here with the Tower, and the Tower usually indicates to me with the Eight of Cups, some type of walking away as a result of some direct confrontation, some revelation, some truths being revealed, as well as overall incompatibility within the relationship that has proven to be too difficult to manage over time. I pulled out two cards linked up with it. And first of all, I have here the Ten of Cups as well as the Eight of Wands. So first of all, I feel like a lot of you might have moved on, started dating new people, and you might find out that either the air sign, somebody that you're thinking about heavily, I feel like you might realize that they are they have found somebody else, they're happy, and they're in another relationship. So I feel like if you are leaving somebody behind, if you have left somebody behind, whoever you left behind, they are quickly moving on. You might catch news through, mutual friends, through family, through social contacts, through social media, that they have moved on and they are trying to rebuild their life, okay? And then others of you, I honestly feel like you have left one relationship for another partner, like for what you've left one person in order to be with somebody else that you are very, very attracted to and have been attracted to for quite some time. So I feel like one relationship ends and then another one begins very, very quickly, like right on the heels of it. Take some time off to adequately mourn and heal and, from that relationship before you jump into something new, because I feel like this is more of the energy where you're it's kind of like that rebound energy, wanting to like get back on in the game and attracting the wrong types of people. So it might feel like it's the right thing to do right now, but I feel like, further down the line, like 2 weeks from now, even, you might regret that decision. So just be careful about not making any major changes right now, drastic relationship, changes during the Mercury in retrograde period, because I feel like once the energy shifts into where you might regret the decisions. Okay. So don't do anything based on like an argument. I feel like that. Don't walk away because of some argument. You want to let that energy settle and then sort it out and, try to really think if that's what you really want and at least wait into January. Okay. I honestly feel a lot of you are shifting partners, and you might be in a relationship. There's temptation from outside the relationship, and you might find you feel as if you've met somebody that meets all the criteria of the Mr. or Mrs. Right for you. But I feel that if you were leaving your partner for that person, especially for this month, I feel like you're making a big mistake. Okay. And I feel like this is not a soulmate connection. That third person is not a soulmate connection. It is not going to be sufficient for you to be happy. So they're telling you to really fix the foundation of your current relationship if you're not happy, because the person that you're with right now, they're very, very stable. And especially for those of you who have moved away from one person, are now, like just dating around and having fun. I do feel that if that's you, I feel that there is a process of like narrowing down your options and being with somebody that you really, really care for. Okay. So that's coming through, especially if you're not in a serious relationship. But those of you in serious relationship, you want to stick with your partner because I feel like they're very good. They seem very reliable, very faithful. There's some control issues, but you can definitely talk to each other, work around that energy. Okay. Please don't make any drastic decisions for this month when it comes to your relationship, because I feel like you're operating from a space of temptation and not so much like real deep spiritual like insights when it comes to your relationship. So don't make any decisions right now. Okay. Feel things out. Mercury in retrograde time periods are also good for fixing problems in existing relationships as well. So if something keeps coming back up every 4 months, the same argument keeps coming back up in a relationship, that's something for you to really hash out with your partner. Okay. So take it easy, Cancers. Pull back your energy, focus on your relationship, and really try to fix it if there are recurring problems. Okay. Singles, I feel like you're in a good space to meet somebody that is really, really good for you. I feel very strongly I feel like it might be another water sign. Fire sign and water sign, I feel, are coming through very strongly for stability. Okay. So water signs, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, another water sign like yourself. And then the fire sign, especially if you're single and if you're like wanting to meet people, I do see fire sign coming through as well. The earth sign might be somebody that you're already in a relationship with. Okay. So I do wish you the best. I know the reading's a little bit long, but I needed to get some messages across for you. And I hope the reading has been helpful. If you'd like a private reading, please visit the website. It's in the description box below, where you can visit where you can view availability and schedule an appointment for yourself. I believe I'm booked until the second week of December right now. All right. So take care of yourself. I'll be back for the mid-month reading to see how this plays out for you guys. So have a wonderful holiday season. I will see you as well, and happy new year as well. So I'll be back in 2 weeks time. Okay. Take care. Bye bye.